Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Syafiqah Binti Zahari. My matric numbers is B06181027 and I'm from 3BTMI section 1. My title for the research is The Effectiveness of Open Book Assessment on Fostering Students' Critical Thinking, where a study was on FPTT students. For background study, an open book assessment is an assessment method designed in a way that allows students to refer to either class notes and summarize or a memory aid, textbook or other approved material while answering questions. During this pandemic, online open book assessment has been a common alternative to a traditional invigilated test or examination. The open book format reduces student anxiety and promotes higher level learning, such as reduce reliance upon memorization and prompts students to focus on understanding concepts and principles. For problem statement, open book formative assessment was highly predictive of achievement on both open and closed book summative assessment, whereas closed book assessment only predicted performance on the closed book summative assessment, according to Salinas in 2006. Students also need to acquire the academic vocabulary specific to the topic they are reading about in order to begin to understand the text and then build comprehension to higher order level of critical thinking skill, according to Park in 2010. The way students prepare themselves for an assessment depends on how they perceive the assessment before, during and after the assessment, and these effects can have either positive or negative influences on learning. There are 3 research questions and 3 research objectives. First, 4 research questions for this research is: what is the perception of students toward open book assessment in developing critical thinking? Second one is: what are the challenges that students of FPTT face during open book assessment? And the third one is: to what extent open book assessment support the development of student critical thinking skill? For research objective, first, in the research it is to investigate the perception of students toward open book assessment in developing critical thinking. Second one is to examine the challenges that students of FPTT face during open book assessment. And the third one is to study the extent of open book assessment in fostering student critical thinking skill. For literature review, open book assessment is one in which students are allowed to refer to their notes, textbook and other approved material while answering this question, according to Dayananda in 2021. The closed book assessment method has been used for centuries in traditional institutions as a rigorous method for knowledge assessment, according to Anaya in 2010. For critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning or communication as a guide to belief and action. The literature for independent variable is student learning behavior. Students had used a more holistic approach by making a broader connection in an open book assessment environment compared to closed book environment, according to Karagian Nopolo in 2010. For type of question, the questions on an open book test will ask students to explain, evaluate or compare things from their text, according to DVS in 2018. For ability to apply knowledge, open book exams sometimes used in courses more associated with math that have been taught as an evaluation method that promotes more active learning skill, according to Paul. This is the theoretical framework for this research. For independent variable, there is student learning behavior, types of questions, and ability to apply the knowledge. For dependent variable, there is developing critical thinking skill. This is the proposed hypothesis for the research. Hypothesis 1 is student learning behavior positively influence the development of critical thinking skill. For hypothesis 2, type of question positively influence the development of critical thinking skill. And the hypothesis 3 is ability to apply knowledge positively influence the development of critical thinking skill. Next is research methodology. In this research, the researcher used explanatory research design and Likert scale. For research methodology, researcher use a quantitative method, which is a questionnaire, and primary we use a survey and Google form, and secondary data is we use internet search, report, article, and journal that we can get from internet. The third one is data collection method. We use validity and reliability data. The location for this research was for targeting a UTEM student, which is a student of FPTT, and we target 300 students. And researcher use questionnaire design, sample design, and pilot testing for research strategy. For a data analysis method, researcher use descriptive analysis and Pearson correlation analysis. This is the Gantt chart for the PSM for the FYP2. Thank you. That's all for me.